Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!
Misery loves company, so come and join us. Welcome to the warm-up episode 86. I'm your host, Brady Frost, and to preview Town's latest match, I'm joined by Tom Bradshaw, and just Tom alone.
It's just me. Lock myself in the attic as well. I'm in a different room every week at the moment.
I like it. We need to play a game. Where's Tom?
Yeah, different room, different location. So,
Do you own a red and white striped jumper at all?
I'm getting there. I've got the glasses, got a similar brown hair to him. Yeah, if I get a red and white striped jumper, I've got quite a few pairs of blue jeans. So could do that next town game. Maybe I'll turn up like that.
Well, Halloween's coming up. Good costume if you're short.
Yeah, perfect. Actually, good idea, Brady.
Well, yeah. Speaking of Halloween, we had something shocking to talk about. But before we get into that, Tom, we were talking about positives earlier today. Can you give some Town fans some positives at all?
What did I send you earlier that was quite funny as a positive? I can't remember. Ben Jackson's going to be a good player in the future. That was a positive.
Yeah.
Other than that, Brady, I don't think there's many at the moment, is there?
Do you want me to read some of the stuff you said, or
yeah,
are we betraying trust? You said Jordan Rhodes will be good back in League One. I said Jonathan Hogg will be a good interim manager. And then, we probably shouldn't. We'd be betraying trust if we talked about. No, we don't. We don't have anything exciting in our WhatsApps.
If you don't laugh, you'll cry, though, don't you? I think as depressing as it is, it's just a game, and you just gotta look at the bright side of it, haven't you? Really, I might be a happy clapper there, maybe, but yeah,
disgrace. You said though, if you have to laugh or you'll cry. Well, I think a lot of people were crying about last night's game. There was no spaces, Twitter spaces we did last night, but I know we're going to preview Middlesbrough. But Tom, we were talking about it before. Not much to talk about Preston, but if you do want to talk about it, the floor is yours.
I think Stephen Chicken's headline in the Examiner summed it up, didn't it? Dismal and desperate. It is sad that it's already starting to look desperate at this stage, especially given how tight this league is already. It's still really tight. I still think all we have to do is win 3 or 4 games and we might drag ourselves out. But I've been saying that for 3 weeks in a row now. And when does it get to the point when we start getting cut adrift? You know what I mean? We got some big games coming up. The last 2 games I thought were massive games and we've lost them. One of them, Rotherham, was a massive game because they were. I mean, look how far they jumped up that league just after beating us, and then they won again last night, and they're sitting pretty. You know what I mean? It's it is interesting how tight it is, but Town are looking terrible. They're just looking terrible. It was just poor last night. One thing that. We just look so weak. We look like he just all looks really weak. I mean, I don't think there really was that much between the teams last night. But Town to not get a shot on target, I mean, there wasn't much between them, but they didn't look like they even went into second gear, really. To say his best chance was probably that Ward header early on. It's just sad.
It reminded me of the game I did actually go to, which was Wigan at home. And it just felt like that was the first game under Schofield where I was like, we're in trouble here. If Schofield continues to be boss, we're in trouble here. And that's exactly how I felt watching Preston. I think we should caveat this, though. Preston are one of those teams where they are really difficult to beat. And I know we weren't up to much, but you'll hear it from now, you'll hear it till the end of the season. They're one of them teams where when other teams lose to them, the fans are like, oh, we should be beating these. But, they do have the most clean sheets in the league.
Oh, yeah.
And they're hard to break down. So I think we should caveat that but the fact is, you mentioned Stephen Chicken, and I was reading this article, his 5 conclusions. We only had one shot between the 25th minute and the 83rd minute.
Yeah.
And that was from distance. Again, like Dwayne Holmes, I think it was. And what really frustrated me, and I think this is what concerned me, and genuinely, I think with this game, if we play like that, we're getting relegated. I'd like to consider myself positive, but what really concerned me during that game was all our game plan seemed to be was when we had a goal kick was Nichols to boot it long to Rhodes or Danny Ward and try and get the flick on. And it didn't really work because Preston could sit back. Or let's get it to Sorba and then let's try and get him to whip across into the box. But it just wasn't working out because Preston can defend well and they've got big lads at the back. And then, even then, they were like, oh, clearly all they've got is the outlet to Sorba. They just doubled up on Sorba and they couldn't break. So it was just, we just lacked ideas. And we've not been playing well. And it's still, we're nearly a third of the way through the season, which is crazy. But like you say, this league's so tight. If we, not being funny, if we beat Borough and we win our next game, we're probably mid-table. That's the crazy thing about it. So there's still plenty to go, but I was concerned. We don't look good. I think I was chatting to Justin Peach from the Second Tier podcast about it, and they've been saying they think we're going to get relegated based on how we're playing. And I was kind of like, no, this squad's better than that. We shouldn't be in the bottom 3. But then you think about it, I know it's the team that finished 3rd, but they're not playing well. No one's really playing well, and that's concerning. And when we conceded to Preston last night, it felt like those games in the Premier League where it's like, all right, the other team scored now. That's it. We've lost.
Yeah. It's just really frustrating because the teams. I just think for the especially last season, I thought the league wasn't brilliant either. All right, maybe not brilliant, but there's not really any standout teams, are there? Everyone's quite on a level playing field. And I think the most frustrating thing is I still would stand by, we've got a pretty decent set of players here. And you look at other teams' squads and stuff, and I just think, come on. What is it? And is it the coach or is it the players themselves? Maybe the system they're playing in or what? It's just... Oh, it's just annoying, isn't it? Really, because I just want a Preston season for once. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They've 10 years they've been in the Championship, which it must have been boring for them. But God, I can't remember the last time we've had a season where we weren't in a relegation or promotion challenge, which is exciting. But it'd just be nice to have one season where you're not worrying.
Yeah, it's exciting when you're top of the table. I'm not particularly excited that we're, I think we could go bottom tonight because as we're recording, Coventry are playing. So if they win, we're bottom. And to be honest, we deserve to be bottom with how we're playing. I think that's the sad thing to say. Anyway, Tom, we've had a little rant about Preston. Let's get really excited and talk about another game we've got to play, which is on Saturday. We're playing Middlesbrough. So Fotheringham's had 5 games in charge now. And again, this is from Stephen Chicken. Really surprised me. 5 games for Mark Fotheringham. He has the same number of points from his first 5 games as Danny Schofield did in his first 5 games. So that's 4 points from 5 games. With 3 points off safety. But we are playing Middlesbrough, who have equally been terrible this season. And they're just 2 points ahead of us. So they're in the wilderness, or the wilderness at the moment. But I did see before we were recording that Michael Carrick may be taking, as apparently agreed terms, so he might be in the dugout on Saturday, which doesn't bode well for Town. Every other team seems to get a new manager bounce apart from us. Please get the tiny violins out. But I mean, Tom, like Middlesbrough, in terms of resources, they should comfortably win this game.
Yeah.
But do you think we can cause Borough any problems?
I think. I mean, it's kind of what you just touched on though, the kind of new manager bounce. Maybe that'll hinder us a bit, but you surely got to be looking at how they've played this year so far and thinking, come on, we can give these a game at least. You know what I mean? The lads have got to be thinking that they can't be turning up worrying about it. We've got the outlet. I mean, I think to say Sorba has been called a lot this season, I think all you got to do is look at his stats and stuff. He's probably been one of us, maybe our most important player this year with the
I'd agree.
Assists and stuff he's created. It's like I just think we've got to, or the players need to maybe believe in themselves a bit. I think they're just going out there and looking like maybe they just don't have a clue what they're doing, and maybe then that goes back to the systems that we're playing and stuff. It's really interesting touching on the Schofield stat to the Fotheringham stat, because it's still the same set of players. I don't think Fotheringham has come in and done anything particularly radical with a system or anything. Sounds like they're training a bit harder, but when I've watched recently, I haven't seen anything amazingly different. You know what I mean? The goal we scored away at Rotherham, we've always been working on set pieces, so it's not even like that's been added to the system now or anything. So it is a bit worrying, that stat, I think, because surely it's quite a new team. You got to remember there's a lot of new players thrown in there, and the fact that there hasn't been an improvement, basically, going off that stat, that is a bit worrying, I think. But what? Yeah, you said, is there any chance? Well, yeah, I think we've got a chance, but historically, we're not very good against Borough.
Yeah, did win there last season though.
We did
2-0. So maybe that's a positive. Maybe we can repeat that. I think, yeah, that surprised me. The only thing I would say was before last night, I did kind of feel we were in games a bit more. I think even when we were poor last night and not really creating anything, I think our build up was better than maybe we've seen in Schofield. Just kind of lacking the cutting edge, which is, to be honest, that's not just a Fotheringham problem. That's been a problem with town teams over the years for quite a while. But yeah, no, I think our away form is so terrible though, which concerns me. But if Carrick isn't in charge for the time on Saturday, I just think, let's just keep it tight, because Middlesbrough's issue at the moment is they just create a load of chances and they can't score. So it's almost a bit different to us. We're not really creating anything. But, from the few chances we've had, we've scored. I mean, Luton's a classic example, 3-3. Like, we didn't really have loads there and took our chances. So I think we could get something. It would just have to set up and frustrate, really. But, I don't really trust our defence at the moment, and
that's the thing, Brady. Totally.
Yeah.
And that's the most disappointing downgrade from last season. Because I mean, Pearson's out, isn't he? Which I think is a big loss. But other than that, what is it? Levi's not there. Do you know what I mean? I guess Toffler's gone as well. But
yeah,
I think Lee's
Naby as well.
Naby, but Lee's has really disappointed me this year. He needs to. I just think he's just looked like a different. He looked like a different player. He looked quiet. He's looked a bit. He's looked, big word coming in, weak. He's like, I don't know what it is. He's just. I don't know whether it's who he's playing with now. Maybe Pearson was the perfect partner for him. So the sooner he's back, the better. And then you've got to question what's Fotheringham basically out in one of your centre backs.
What do you make to that?
I don't know. I don't think it's on really, because that goal, I thought there was a number of players at fault for that specific goal. I don't think Nakayama had a good game against Rotherham. I thought he kept, for some reason, dropping deeper than the other two centre backs, which was like, that's blooming rule one, that he played them onside at least 2 times and they almost scored from it. But the goal, there was 3 players around that man who then knocked it down to the hole. Who was it? Who Scott? He played really well when he came on. That bald lad.
Kelly.
Yeah, Kelly. Yeah. He played well, but there's 3 of them round him, and I don't get how he can just single out Nakayama to be winning that header. I don't know I can't remember who the other 2 players were. I think one must have been Leigh's as well, and then maybe Jackson. But it's like, I don't know. I think it's a bit suspect, because you could just start friction. You could start people back chatting. You know what I mean? Loads of stuff can come from this, and not good stuff, I don't think. It depends what kind of player Nakayama is as well. Some players react differently to that technique. Do you know what I mean? I only play Sunday League, but if I get a bollocking, I actually quite like it, because it kind of gets me going. But some players go into the shell, hate it, and don't want to play for you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's tricky because we don't know what Nakayama's like. I also think, again, it's a classic. If we aren't losing, no one really cares. You know, people might be like, "Oh, that's a bit weird." And I will also say Fotheringham's, he's never managed before, so he's getting to grips. But I was kind of initially like, I think people are making a bigger deal out of this, because he's mentioned it about a couple of people, and like you say, like sometimes players like a Bollikin and galvanise. We assume that modern players don't like that, but like we don't. You don't know that's the case. But I think I will criticise about it. It's dropping him after that,
Agreed.
and then we don't win the game, and it just creates an unnecessary story that we don't need.
Yeah.
He was praising Turton after, but I don't think Turton had a particularly great game. I don't think anyone really did, but just seems a bit odd. So yeah, we've got a lot of questions about Fotheringham, which we'll come on to, but obviously we have our concerns about Town. Did you pick anyone from Borough that you think could hurt us?
Got a number of players. Do you mind if I just rattle through a couple?
Yeah, I mean, why change the habit of a lifetime?
I know, we could just discuss them. But I mean, I think Jones is maybe a bit similar to Sorba this year, although like I said earlier, I don't think Sorba has actually been that bad. But Jones, when you look at his stats, he's not hitting what he did last year. So maybe that's quite a good thing for Town coming up. Maybe people have figured him out. Just to highlight, Tommy Smith's there now, played 6 games for him.
We could do with him.
Well, yeah, but the one player maybe they're now throwing, Duncan Watmore, who always seems to play pretty well against us when he's in a Borough shirt. Joint top scorer with 3. He's played most games for. I think he played 13 games for him. So he's been getting in that squad. So I just think he's one of those players that always comes up against Town, doesn't he? What about you, mate? Anyone standing out for you in that side?
Yeah, I was chatting to because I'm doing something interesting, which means I have to chat to a lot of Championship fans, but I can't talk about it just yet. But I was chatting to a Borough fan. Ooh, a little teaser for you there. And he was saying that one to look out for is Ryan Giles. So I was impressed with Giles. I can't remember who was on loan to in the Championship last season, but he caught the eye. And he's been playing left wing back, but he can play left mid, and he's just like such an attacking player, and he's really exciting to watch. And this, the Johnny, the Borough fan I spoke to, couldn't speak highly enough of him. So he was one I actually thought would have been good to maybe replace Toff if we could have got him on loan. So I think he'll be bombing up down, attacking our right side on Saturday. So he's one to watch out for, because I think he's he's on his way to being a Prem player. Borough haven't been as good as people expected. I thought they were going to quote Andy from that Manc fan, going to do a title charge. But yeah, like he joined for a team that was going to get promoted under Wilder, and I think he is top Championship quality now, and will probably be a Premier League player.
Rotherham, went up with Rotherham, and then Cardiff and Blackburn. He's been on loan at, mate. So yeah, I mean, he seems to be played a lot of games in those squads as well. So I had mow it down because we always say how much we like him as a player. You forget there, and he's on loan from West Brom.
Weird that one, isn't it?
Yeah, very weird because he's such a good Championship player. Yeah. So he's played about 11 games. I don't think he's really done anything effective given because they're not scoring really. And then Akpom.
Yeah.
Got 3 goals in 8 games, which is quite a decent return. Given it's only 8 games. I always think Matt Crooks, I really like him as a player, but he seems to have dropped a bit deeper under Wilder, which was interesting. So I wonder if because I remember at Rotherham he seemed to be playing a bit further up the pitch, being a bit more effective in that kind of final third. So it'd be interesting to see if someone comes in and maybe does push him back further up that pitch. Yeah, he's another one of those in a Town Academy players who's gone on to be quite decent.
Yeah. Well, when Rotherham got relegated, we said, didn't we, Tom? We would have liked him back just because, to be honest, before we had Russell, our midfield was tiny. So, I have no doubt he'll be decent. But Tom, speaking of Borough, you went up to the Riverside, didn't you? Had a mooch around. Did you get a Parma?
I did. Oh, I love them. They are proper nice. They are proper nice. Yeah, but I went up to Borough and I caught with Johnny to discuss what score Borough will beat Town.
We've lost to a pub side. We've literally lost to a pub side.
Hi Johnny, thanks for coming on the pod. How do you feel your season is going so far?
Hello guys, Johnny here from the Borough Breakdown podcast. Thank you very much for having me on, and I'm sorry that I'm going to be depressing for the next couple of minutes or so. In terms of our season so far, it's just been an absolute disaster, hasn't it? I think we've killed everyone's coupon for having us more or less favourites to be in the playoffs this year. Obviously, Chris Wilder tends to start slow, but the decline felt a lot longer. And it's really been on the decline since his link to Burnley in April, where we won 3 out of 15 games until he got the sack. And to be honest, we did see it coming. There's a lot of disgruntlement behind the scenes, but then also with that, there was rumours that he would be taking the Bournemouth job, which is still pending. So I think it was right for Borough to sack him. But then also for Borough's season, we've just been inconsistent a lot. So it was a case of unlucky for the first half of the season. We beat Sunderland, and then ever since then we've been absolutely dreadful. And I couldn't suggest it's a better time for Ronnie Huddersfield to play us, but then saying that Michael Carrick could be in charge for that, so you never know what you get with that new manager bounce.
Who is a standout player for Borough so far this season?
In terms of standout players, Ryan Giles on the left-hand side, absolute wonder, the left foot, really talented boy. He's been a little bit quiet the last couple of games, but I think his assists will keep climbing throughout the season. And then also, I really like Anthony Dijksteel, but he's been in and out the squad because of form. But then also, looking at our team, Zach Steffen's really improved over the last couple of weeks in goals. So we're hoping to see more of that in the next coming weeks. And then up front, Rodrigo Muniz, he's a real handful for any defence. He's really good in the air, good at holding the ball up. It likes to play other team members in and get people behind. So he's a really talented boy, and he's also a bit of a shit house as well. So just be mindful of that.
And what's your prediction for Saturday?
Looking ahead to Saturday, God, honestly, I would take anything at this point. I really would. We're really struggling. But we could be under a new era, and you always get that little bounce on you when a new manager comes in. But I don't think I've ever seen a Borough manager win the first game. So that could be a good omen for Huddersfield. But I'll take a 1-1 draw any day of the week, because I think when under Carlos Carbaron last year, you guys were absolutely brilliant. And thoroughly deserved the win against us. So I'll take anything. I'm going to go 1-1 draw. But guys, thank you so much for having me on. I'm sorry if I've been depressing, but it is depressing watching another football club at the moment. But it will get better. I hope it will get better. And best of luck for the season ahead, just apart from Saturday.
Okay, so you spoke to Johnny. This feels like two teams in the bottom three. This feels like this game's going to be fun. Why don't we compose ourselves, take a quick break, and then we'll come back with loads of positive energy.
Yeah.
Okay, we're back. Look how much energy I've got in my voice. That means one thing and one thing only. It's time for the mailbag.
You've got mail.
Did you enjoy that, Tom?
You've got mail. That is one of my favourite jingles, that Brady. Well done.
I am quite proud of it. Yeah, we said before, like, it's a dying art, isn't it, jingle writer?
It is.
And I've got quite a 1950s name. Brady Frost is a jingle writer.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll talk about the questions. Mark Fotheringham comes up a lot in these, surprisingly. But HTAFC Opinions asks for our opinion. He says 5 injured/ill players: Hogg, Pearson, Simpson, Andrin, Jones. How many of those get into last night's starting lineup, and who gets replaced?
Interesting.
Tom, do you want to take that one first?
Right, Pearson's in it. Pearson's in that back, especially when he's bringing out Nakayama, he's name dropping Pearson, saying Matty Pearson wins that header all day long.
Yeah, he clearly loves Pearson.
So Fotheringham's going to put him in as soon as he's fit. Then Andrin's interesting. I'd put him in, but Andrin's one of those. I wonder if Fotheringham is even, because the lad from Villa's gone, yeah?
The lad from Villa. He's not gone. Has he gone
not?
back? No, he's still there.
You know what I mean? He's not injured though, is he? And he's not getting a...
No. Tino's got glandular fever, we should say, so he is ill. So it's not like... I mean, I know Fotheringham's like, if you're not training now, you're not in my team, but I imagine Tino's probably an exception because he's ill at the moment.
Yes, of course. But the question is Tino that kind of trainer? And someone touched on it. I can't remember who touched on it. It might have been on this podcast. It might have been on the main pod. But about the kind of, if you're going to have these strict kind of systems in play and training stuff, where does the creativity flourish from? And that's what Tino Andrin is, isn't he? He's one of those players that you kind of just let loose and say, go do something that wins us a game, basically.
Yeah, he's your match winner, isn't he? Like, not every game, but like the one in, hopefully, you'd like to think the 1 in 3 could win your game.
Is that a player that Fotheringham appreciates? You know what I mean? Does Hogg get in this team? I don't know. That's an interesting question, potentially. Who else was it out? Simpson. Simpson does. Simpson at least gets on the bench. I think he's going to be a very good option, just to have something different up front.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Pat Jones. Do you think he starts? I think he's probably on the bench, but again, impact. Like, it's a bit like Simpson pushing for a start. I agree. I think Pearson would definitely start. I think Hogg would start for Fotheringham, although rumours today about them too, but we won't really touch on them. But I think because HDFC Opinions asked who gets replaced. To be honest, controversial. I thought Kamara was quite poor last night, but he is a youngster and he's going to, they are going to have ups and downs. So I think probably Hogg would come in for some games. I think Holmes has been good, but I kind of see that attacking mid-roll.
He has, Brady, but do you know what? He did it last against Preston as well. Just sometimes he gives away silly fouls. He did it.
He does. Yeah, that was silly where he got a yellow.
Yeah. And it's just, that's what winds me up with him. But there's bits there that we said at start of season. He can be that kind of a Brian outlet the amount of times he does pick it up and gets you at least like 20, 30 yards up the pitch.
Yeah.
He does it. He does do it in games. Just think he's got to be a bit more sensible, because he gives away free kicks in positions that are really. Actually, Rotherham, the goal, wasn't the Rotherham goal from that free kick that he gave away?
Yes, I think it was. Yeah, but I mean,
Yep.
you got to. I get what you're saying, but also you got to defend it. But yeah, no, it's a good point. He did needlessly kick out, like the yellow he got last night. That was silly. Like that was, but that's just because he's frustrated. Anyway, I think Dwayne gets a lot of stick, but yeah, I agree. He does do some silly fouls. I'd probably, I think Holmes, but I think Tino's probably a difference maker. So I think those five like are certainly making the squad without a question.
Agreed.
Yeah, cool. Okay, HTAFC Stan asks, got a lot of HTAFC people asking. Do you think the system Fotheringham is playing is wrong? To me, we look so one-dimensional, crossing the ball and hoping someone gets on the end on it. It needs to change. I also don't understand why he only used one sub as well. So I touched on it. I kind of agree with that. I thought, it's either the flick-ons or Sorba to cross it. One sub, that was strange to me. And I think funny. Obviously, we had David Siddle on for the last pod, and he was saying how Radoni needs to be pushed further forward. Because I think Radoni looked better, but again, he's so deep. I don't know. What do you think about the system, the 3-5-2?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not any tactician or any Brady. But maybe it's just not working with what we've got, and that's the thing. Maybe it's got to get to a stage where you've got to really think, right, strip it back and go back to basics, and just start with a really solid defensive back line, maybe a 4 at the back, just something to tighten it up a bit. I like the wing back thing, but they've got to do so much work. It's such a hard position. You've got to be up and down, up and down. And I'm one of those who actually think Sorba's had a good season so far this year.
Yeah, I agree.
Last night again, when Preston should have gone 2-0 up, there was as a wing back, it's like you've either got they had that chance, didn't they, where it came in at the back post and the guy should have fucking finished it.
Yeah, he should have scored.
But so Sorba's either got to track him, and you can see it when you watch it back, or he's got to be telling, I think it was Leigh's.
Yeah.
He's got to be saying, look on your shoulder, mate, there's a man over. Luckily, he misses it. I mean, it didn't change the game, but luckily he misses it. But it's either that communication or the work rate to get back in position there. Because he could see it. He could see it unfolding. I mean, yeah. It's a lot to ask of players, and the position that we're in, maybe we need to go as simple as possible at the moment. I don't know. But, yeah.
No, I think you're right. I mean, to be honest, like, we don't know because Fotheringham's still working it out, but I think like we've played 4-3-3 before under Carlos, and I agree with you, like Sorba has been decent, and I wonder, if you had a back four. I mean, he's playing Turton at left-sided centre-back, so surely like having Jackson and, well, we'll come on to the lineup, but surely you could have Jackson and Turton as your proper fullbacks, and then Lees and Hellick, and then you kind of build out from there and push Sorba further forward. Yeah. I know David last week said like he doesn't really like Rhodes and Ward, and I think, mate, I think Rhodes has been the better of the two strikers, even though on the same goals. So maybe you could push Sorba further forward, and it's just wingers. But I mean, Mahoney. I know Fotheringham said he sees him more as like a attacking mid, but maybe you could put him on the left or Holmes on the left.
Yeah,
I think you're right. Like, I wonder if. To be honest, I think whatever he does, he needs to have consistency, particularly at the back.
Yeah.
Because I get about making points if players make mistakes, but confidence is low. They're going to make mistakes, and I'm not sure you know, to put myself in the player's shoes, if my manager had said, if you make mistakes, you're out of the team, I'm going to be so terrified of making a mistake, particularly if you're a young player.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of counterintuitive. But yeah, I think it's a good point from HCFC Stan. One to consider.
Yeah, I do like the 4-3-3. Actually, I'm just jotting it down now and being like, would you have there? And I think with what we've got, it just already looks a bit more solid potentially. So
yeah.
But that's Fotheringham's problem, isn't it? It depends how some managers can be very stubborn in the way that they play football.
Yeah, I mean, Carlos was, wasn't he?
Well, yeah, exactly. This is our formation. This is how we play it.
Yeah, we're just making the case for a new formation change, Tom. Because it seems like we're going to go through a lot of managers this season at this rate. So why not give us a go?
We'd look like two. Actually, we'd be like a Jurgen Klopp and David Wagner tribute act on the sideline if we were a managerial team.
I don't think I'd be shouting at linesmen like Klopp. Do you ever check yourself? You know, when you're shouting stuff at the ground and you check yourself. Like, I know my stepdad pointed it out to me the other week, but I just always say, give him an option. Like, that's all I say. Give him an option.
Just out, give him an option.
Yeah, that'd be my tactical. Give him an option.
Oh, my partner actually did a list of things that I shout at football the other day.
What was one of them?
Can't remember what they were. There was a long list. There's a lot of like, oh bloody hell, referee and stuff like that, and get it forward. No, I don't
get it forward. Yeah, you do.
Right. Get it gone though. Get it bloody out. Kick it out, you bastard.
Oh, one of my favourites where you like, obviously the opposition have like a dangerous free kick or a corner, and then it goes out, and you go squeeze.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll move on because so thanks to everyone who submitted the questions. We've included these ones because they're all kind of similar. But Bjorn Jambak, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, Bjorn. He says, has Fotheringham lost the dressing room already? The players seem afraid to make a mistake, then getting slaughtered in the next press conference and dropped. In spite of what Fotheringham is saying so often, I don't see anyone playing with a fire in his belly. I mean, Tom, you touched on it. Like, he's one of them where if he's saying all this stuff and coming out bold and you're winning, it's not a problem. But people are going to look differently if the results aren't being positive. What do you? I mean, it's 5 games. It'd be amazing if he lost the dressing room already. Do you buy that?
Probably commend him for that. It'd be like on a record, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know what? I'd love to be a fly on the wall in those changing rooms because basically he's out there watching the subs. They could be all fucking bitching about him in that dressing room. You know what I mean? You know what it's like though when if players don't like a system or something, then they're gonna voice it. I don't think any players are going to be worried. They shouldn't. Like, I mean, I guess that they want to play, but if they, for me, right? Look, I want him. I obviously want him to succeed because he's town manager. But if a guy's coming in, say I play for this team. Say I'm Huddersfield Town striker, right, Brady?
Well, to be fair, there is a Tom Bradshaw who's a striker.
I know, exactly. I'm not kind of seeing any authority coming in from someone who hasn't really got any experience and is younger than Danny Schofield. I just think he's coming and this is a really difficult job. He's got a group of players who I might be speculating here, but when Schofield was in charge, at points it looked like they weren't playing for him, almost trying to maybe get him out of the job. So if they're not going to respect a coach that was part of the setup that almost got us to the Premier League, then yeah, I wouldn't be surprised after 5 games if people are already falling out. I obviously hope that's not the case, but yeah, it is. It's a worrying time. I also think it's quite interesting how it's literally him that's coming, hasn't it, as well? And then he's having to implement his ideas with a kind of hodgepodge backroom staff with Chico, who you'd say was Carlos's man.
Yeah.
And the lad who came in from Birmingham,
Paul Harsley.
Yeah. And then Clem, who goalkeeper coach. So yeah, it's interesting. It's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. Like you say, if he's already lost the dressing room, that's a hell of an achievement. I don't think Jan lost the dressing room that quickly. Jan was too nice, though. It's not the he wasn't the same player. I think players were just confused when he was doing his soup analogies.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I don't really know. I think it's tricky. Like I sent it to you, but we got a question which really made me laugh.
Because I think, go on, ask it anyway.
Okay, it kind of leads on to my point as Fotheringham lost the dressing room. But we got to ask Tom, when are we going to stop sucking Hoyle and Bromby's balls and tell it like it is? Just like I don't know if we have. I think like all I will say is this has to work for Leigh Bromby. Like this appointment has to work. We've lost this structure. Well, we've talked about it before, but when Wagner left, we didn't have a structure. It was all on Wagner, and then we were suffering for a while. We've built this structure, so when managers if it all works well, when managers get poached, we're not losing it, and we can carry on as it goes on. We have lost 2 managers because of the structure now. We lost Danny Cowley, which I know some fans won't be particularly happy about, and we lost Carlos Corberán. For whatever reason, Carlos Corberán, in my opinion, quite rightly, probably wanted more control after leading us to 90 minutes away from the Premier League. We've talked about that a lot. It happens. If we are sticking with structure, the appointments have got to be so crucial for it to work. Yeah. And Schofield, we've talked about that, but I can't help but think that looks like a cheap appointment. That's always my thinking with internal appointments. It looks like the cheap option. I know that's a criticism of Hoyle before, that Hoyle is doing a cheap option. And Fotheringham, look, he is clearly divisive, like looking at the Town fans and looking at what people are saying. I kind of don't think this is on him, though. I think he's come into although he may have rubbed people up the wrong way, he's only had 5 games in, and I think we're in a point where whoever came in needed to hit the ground running. And to be honest, we'll find out if he's like this all the time. But when everyone thought we were getting David Wagner, or everyone would like to think that, and you get someone who's never coached before, I could kind of understand why he wants to come out and make his name and beat his chest, like particularly after a win. This just has to go right for Leigh Bromby. I think if this doesn't work out, I think serious questions have to be asked about Leigh Bromby in his position.
Yeah,
how's that for not telling it like it is?
I think you're spot on. I think so. So right on Hoyle, right? I'm one of those who I don't think you can really question him, to be honest, because he has pumped a lot of money into this club over the years. League One, look how much money put in there.
That was like well over 10 years ago, though. Is all I'm saying.
I know, Brady, but I'm just doing a timeline now.
Yeah, that's fine.
And we went up to the Championship, then we got promoted, kept us in the Premier League. Then he sold us, right? I think you've got to remember, he sold us on the kind of, this is what I'm getting from all the publicity from it, the news from it. he sold us on the back of thinking, right, that's it, I'm done. I'm selling it to someone who can can handle the club's finances, can take the club potentially forward, can at least sustainably manage Huddersfield Town. That didn't happen with Hodgkinson because his companies were obviously affected, I'm guessing, during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Hoyle, in reality, Dean Hoyle doesn't want to be chairman right now, really. Like, in Dean Hoyle's timeline, alternate reality without COVID, he's just watching Huddersfield Town as a whatever. And maybe you've got to think, I know that he doesn't have anything to do with Card Factory now. He sold it, didn't he? He sold it off and everything. So you've got to think about like the financial aspect of that as well and things. So it is difficult. I just think it's got to be difficult for him to be in this situation. Bromby, when did he came in? He came in the season we got promoted, didn't he? But he wasn't in the role that he was in now. So he wasn't. Was he doing an academy thing then? Maybe.
Yeah, and I think Phil promoted him to his current position, to be fair.
And that's when you look at the managers since Phil was chairman. So yeah, Cowley, Carlos, Danny, and now Fotheringham. I was quite a big Danny Cowley fan because I thought he'd bring a bit, like, if we gave him time, you'd get a good bit of stability in there. But he was sold something that he wasn't given, which I do think's a bit out of order. Do you know what I mean? He was sold the bravado that they were going to get control over transfers and stuff, didn't they? And then at the end of the season, they were like, "Yeah, we're not going to do that, so you can go." Then Carlos has come in, had a pretty rubbish first season, and then a good second season, and then he's gone maybe off the kind of similar thing. And then now we've taken a massive gamble with someone who has got no... I mean, we've done it with Carlos as well. I think you are spot on with Bromby, right? This has to work. I think this manager has to work for Bromby. I think if we are sacking this manager, then there's got to be... Maybe he's got to go because he's had 2 failures... or 3 failures. I guess you put Danny Schofield down to him because at the end of the day, if he's head of football operations, surely he's deciding what's going on. And then he's had Carlos, who didn't have I mean, the first season we nearly went down. Second season, yeah, it worked, but I think Dean Hoyle, at the end of the day, it's Dean Hoyle's got a massive call to make. But and then the question is whether the money's there as well, which we maybe don't have that.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, we don't know what goes on behind the scenes as well. I know we're speculating a little bit, but there could be a scenario where Bromby's suggesting stuff and Dean overrules him, or is Bromby making decisions that maybe haven't worked out. Like, we have no idea. I'd like to think. I know Dean's got a bit of criticism, and I think I've been on this podcast before saying, like, he can have done good things and he can also have done not so good things. Not everyone has to be a saint or a sinner. I would like to think if we were in trouble, I think Dean would probably put in his pocket, because look, that's what they did for Schofield. They brought in Hellick. Rumours are we paid around $1 million for him.
Yeah.
I know it's nothing in this league, but that's a fair bit for Town. He did back Fagner with a lot of money for Town. So who knows? We don't really know what the financial situation is. And obviously we've had some key player sales. We'll see. I think we're both right. Like, we both agree this has to work for Bromby. I think questions need to be asked. I think particularly because he had 2 weeks to think about this as well. It's not like we had to rush it. It was the international break. They had time to think about it. Lucky, the only positive I think I could say is the World Cup. because it's in the middle of the season, I think we probably need that.
Yeah.
And I think we need to be honest, unless we'll lose like the next 4 games in a row, like 4-0. I think Fotheringham should get at least to the World Cup, and then let's assess. If we've not seen anything between now and then, I think his position is difficult.
Yeah.
But then again, he'll have nearly a month to work with the players. But then also, if we've not seen anything, and I think we've seen an improvement from Schofield in some of the games. Not much. The bar is low, but I've seen a little bit. I thought, to be honest, I know Hull were no great shakes, but as soon as we got our freak goal, I thought we looked good. And maybe that's it. But yeah, I think for me, has to stay until the World Cup, and we'll make a call from there.
Yeah.
That's bad. That's really bad. You're on your second manager of the season. Your second manager's already 5 games in, and we're already talking about how long he should have.
Then maybe it is like the system just isn't working. This German model that we're trying to go for, maybe it just doesn't work. Maybe, I mean, I get it. We are trying to work. I kind of back Dean Hoyle in that sense. I want Town to be able to run sustainably on its own. You don't want someone pumping money in and then to get the club in debt or anything, and then if they go, they're like, oh well, you owe us this, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
So I get that, but maybe this model just doesn't work for us. Not at this level with the budget we have.
I think. Well, I mean, we're gonna have plenty of pods to talk about it.
Yeah.
But I do wonder if we've lost O'Brien and Toffolo and Hoyle. I know, although I like the players we brought in, they're obviously, some of them aren't championship ready. So I feel like that's a gamble as well. We've gone for players to develop, and maybe that's affecting us right now. But anyway, Tom, we could probably talk about that for 2 hours.
Yeah, we probably have already. Sorry,
well, we've not shied away from it, have we? So get your facts right, mate. Anyway, okay, it's time for You're the Boss. So in the Preston game, we lined up apparently in a 3-4-1-2. So we had Lee's, so Nichols in goal, obviously, Lee's, Hellick, and Ollie Turton. Sorba, Kamara, Kasumu, Jackson, Holmes, and a partnership of Jordan Rhodes and Daniel Mark Ward.
Yes.
Or is it Carl? Can't remember. James got his name. I think it's Carl. Carl. I'm pretty sure it's Daniel Carl Ward. What would you do, Tom? We talked about 4-3-3. Would you do that?
No, I probably would. Yeah, I probably would. I guess you'd have Nichols in there, Turton. You have Turton on the right. Turton can play right back, can't he? Yeah.
Yeah, Turton is a right back.
Yeah, he is a right back, isn't he?
Yeah,
but he played left side in the other night. Then Lee's and Hellick, and then Jackson, because I do really like Jackson. I mean, he looks really good.
Yeah.
Then probably at the moment, Kasumu in that holding role, Kamara, and this is where it gets a bit interesting, isn't it? So maybe Holmes, Kamara and Holmes in the middle, and then I'd still be starting Rhodes up top on his own, with then Sorba on the right, and I'd be throwing Rodoni up in that kind of front three.
Oh, interesting.
Further up that field. So if it was 4-3-3, that's what I'd be doing. But I'm assuming he's going to go with 3-4, 3-4-3 or whatever it is again.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I know we just kind of spitballed it on the pod, but yeah, no, to be honest, I don't think there's necessarily anything. Look, I think the thing is, like, if we've got a point on Saturday, we just need to keep getting points, So, I'd do that. I think he'll probably. I think he should bring back Nakayama, but I think he'll play Turton again.
Mm.
But yeah, if it was me, I'd go Turton, Leigh, Hellick, Jackson. Then my midfield three would be the same: Kasumu, Kamara, and Holmes. I think Holmes maybe pushing a bit forward, and then I'd go Thomas. I think Rhodes gets the nod for me. He's probably knackered though. He looked knackered last night. And I'd play Mahoney on the left. That's where he can play. I think he's looked good. Radoni's unlucky, but I don't know. I think it depends how the game goes as well. Like we've got 5 subs. You can change it, which is going back to one of the questions. I think that's what annoyed me. Like, do you really need 3 at the back when Preston aren't really doing much?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. What about your score prediction then, Tom? What are you thinking?
Positivity is the way forward. Town are going to win the game 2-1.
Love it. Not so convinced, but love it. Who's scoring?
Rhodes and Hellick.
Oh, okay. Is it going to be like the game against Hull where he's like literally on the line?
Yeah.
I'm going to go 1-1. I think, depends if Carrick's in or not. But they have, famous last words, but they have struggled to score quite a bit. So, 1-1. I'd take that. And I'm going to go for Dwayne Holmes.
Holmesy. Yeah, he's drew
to score.
To be fair.
Yeah. There we go. Right, Tom, it's time to cheer everyone up. I feel like we've bummed people out a little bit, but sometimes it ain't all rainbow and sunshine. It is when we talk about this man. It's the amazing elbow.
Hey.
I think the fans could probably see I was trying my best, working hard.
The amazing elbow.
As a centre forward, the last thing you want is a goal drought starting off at a club. Started on my own up front, and the really good centre forwards like Jordan were rested.
Yeah, so where did we see him last? He was Rambo's doing dizzy penalties. He stole the microphone off him whilst this war was basically going on in the middle of the pitch. And in the distance, he sees a silhouette at the top of the cowshed and shouts, "Single man, reveal yourselves." And the voters voted in their droves again, Brady. I think we had over 25 votes this time. And they voted for Neil Warnock turning up on his bike, basically.
Have you seen that video of him?
Oh,
I know, I suggested it. Just here I am on my bike, trying to stay healthy.
He did it when it was that roasting hot weather as well, didn't he? It's like, what are you doing out on your bike in this, Neil?
You can't control Neil, and you'd have to try, Tom.
Yeah. So, it's Warnock at the top on his bike. So, Neil rides down the steps like a maniac, pops a wheelie at the bottom, and then does some donuts on the pitch. And this sparks outrage from the ground staff who ... This is on the spot tonight, this one as well, Brady.
Oh, is it? Okay.
For the listeners, because you didn't even know that was coming, did you?
I didn't. So the ground staff are saying something to him.
Yeah, they're outraged. There's outrage from the ground staff who ...
Who shout, "Let's get levered in," and let him go to attack Neil on his bike.
Right, that's good. I have this is off the top of my head as well, so I was trying to pick up a tenuous Warnock link. So here's mine. Who angrily shout at Neil, and then one rips a fake mustache off, and it turns out to be Muscat.
Oh.
There we go. So Muscat, undercover as a groundsman, is mine. And then I guess, do we throw in a third one? We haven't got a third guest.
A
But we
third
could-
guest.
Third guest.
We normally do the podcast with 3 guests. The 2 are just silent. It's because should we make us sound bigger than we are? You know, when they break the wall. We've got our producer in the background. Just listening. We've got to go with another iconic Warnock quote. What
Yeah.
can we go?
So there's outrage from the ground staff who what was it? Was it away at Stoke during COVID?
Where he says it's a disgrace.
Those changing rooms are a disgrace.
Oh, what else is there? There's the oh, sorry, one of my favourite Warnock ones, which is underrated, which is when he's at Sheffield United and he's in the boardroom and he's talking about his transfer targets, and someone interrupts him and he goes, "Can I just do my presentation or what?" It's just like the passive aggressiveness.
Well, maybe that could be it. The ground staff interrupt by doing a presentation on how to successfully grow grass.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay.
It's getting very congested on this pitch right now as well. So at the moment we've got Dinner Ladies, Wagner Army, Rambo, Stephen Chicken. I'm just throwing Chicken in there anyway.
No, I think wasn't he doing dizzy penalties?
Yeah. He's in 2 places at once. So
no,
Stephen
he wasn't.
Chicken's got an evil twin, and then the Amazing Elbow's on there as well, and now Warnock's on there in his bike. That's 6 things going on, and now the ground staff are potentially doing something.
I mean, we've not even covered, but like, was there a game on, or is this just like an off day? It's
Who knows?
No wonder the ground staff are pissed
Got
off
no
if all this
rules.
is happening.
It's literally got no rules, this thing.
Yeah, no wonder they're so annoyed. I mean, Little Mix, when they played at the stadium, they messed up the pitch for ages. Dread to think what it's going to be all right with all this going on.
Yeah.
Okay, so your 3 options are Warnock's. I just want you to, Tom. I know you've had to do some of these in a rush, but as a play on the podcast, I really want you to do the most detailed drawing of Warnock doing donuts on the grass or doing a wheelie, please. If anything.
That's anyway, isn't it? Yeah, that's
that's what you're going to draw next. But okay. So a lot of these are about going to fight. So the first option is, while Warnock's doing wheelies, the ground staff say, "Let's get levered in and go to attack him," or they go over and it turns out Muscat with a mustache is an undercover groundsman, or the ground staff interrupt with a PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah, sorted. This has got worse structure than this podcast at times.
Whoa!
Burn on the podcast.
Burn. Well, Tom, let's wrap it up there. But do you know what would help with the burn? A nice cold drink of a town lager or Cannonball or Sorcery, whatever your magic rock drink of choice is. And tell you what, Tom.
Thanks, Brady.
Thank you. And tell you what, Tom, if you're enjoying that, did you know you can enjoy it by having a sweet 10% off if you do any orders online? Yeah. Do you know the code by now? Because I say it all the time. Do you want to say it for a change?
AHTC10.
No, AHTTC10. Close.
AHTTC10 and Illingworth and Gregory.
Well, I'm sure they're happy with that. But yeah, use code AHTTC10 and you get 10% off your online orders thanks to us.
Do you know what? Yeah, use it. Use it and abuse it because it's a great offer.
And we're not saying that because we have to. We're saying that because we want to. So clearly we've had 10% off because we sound really drunk. But we're just giddy and tired. And to be honest, a bit fed up with town. So we'll leave it there. We will be back, though, to preview the next game. So enjoy that. We will hopefully have 3 guests on. So tune in for that. Tom, anything you want to add before we end this?
Town are currently bottom of the league.
Well, the only way is up, and we'll end it there.
So Town play up and bring the cup back to Huddersfield.